Hello again. Today we're playing Palworld, a game about battling, capturing and making a work camp staffed by pals, which is going to be hard to keep saying instead of, well, you know, the other colourful little monsters that you capture in balls and keep in your pockets. Pocket monsters, you could call them. This game has 5 bosses. Let's see how many we can take on today. Anyway, you're currently witnessing the wonder of creation itself as I make a man simply named Grey, who I shaped from the very clay of the earth. If the game would let me give him a balding head, I would have. But fully bald will have to do. In his earliest moments on this land, he's punched a lamb ball to death and learned how to craft spheres using the level it gained him. So after rummaging around in the dirt for some sticks and stones, he makes a sphere and, well, immediately blows it. Good start, Grey. Alright, so he makes some tools, hits some rocks, makes a few more spheres, and gets it done right this time. Beating a pair of lamb balls to an inch from death and imprisoning them in a tiny ball. Having captured a couple of pals now, let's put them to work. This lamb ball, for example, will build a crate and then run off to grab rocks and sticks. Very good. With the PAL box built, the surrounding area becomes a base, and pals can be deployed to this base so that they remain here and work whilst we're off sourcing more labour. Different pals are capable of different tasks, and the number you can have working at a base is determined by its level, raising which requires specific tasks to be completed, like building a bed. So Grey sets to work on a small house for himself and pops down just such a bed within. The only logical next steps are to make a simple ranged weapon and a few more spheres before heading out in search of more workers. A couple more lamb balls are added to the ranks and apparently now they want beds too. Fine, I'd rather they just kept working through the night, but the PAL box demands beds to reach level 4. Next it wants a campfire and a plantation. Fair enough, both simple projects that can be completed quickly. Now, I don't have any pals capable of working the fields or the fire yet, but I'm sure they'll come soon enough. Okay, it wants a PAL gear workbench and a statue of power next. Considerably more nebulous concepts, but still easy enough to build. First though, Grey is off out to capture some new and interesting pals. There's Cativa, Chickpea, and even Pengullet, who I've not captured yet, but I know he's out there somewhere. I'll find you, Pengullet. Back at base, we put the cats to work in a stone pit, generating an endless supply of stone for the base. He's mining, apparently. Alright, more arrows, more spheres, more pals. Pucrates joins the gang, who's an owl. Daydream was also supposed to join the gang, but Grey isn't fantastic at the whole not killing part. Oh, and look who it is. The throat goat himself. Get in the sphere, Pengullet. Oh, it's like a bullet, not a gullet. Okay. Anyway, get in the sphere, Pengullet. I have a throat for you to water. Wait, no. Oh god, that's disgusting. Get in the sphere, Pengullet. I have a field for you to water. That was foul. Grey also captures foxparks, who will tend the flames back home. Throughout the world, the PAL world that is, there are these little monuments between which you can fast travel, as well as these green CIA glowies, which can be traded for improved capture power at the Statue of Power, which we'll build shortly, but first, I want this deer. With Pengullet's help, Grey weakens it and throws many a sphere, finally capturing the Ichthyodeer. Our first pal capable of lumbering, which will be very handy. So it's getting late now, but Grey is still out and about accidentally burning a Gumos to death. That's enough ecological terrorism for one night, I think. It's time to head back and go to bed. In the morning, we see our big purple deer hard at work on... This script wasn't meant to be this foul. In the morning, we see our big purple deer hard at work on some eco-terrorism of its own. That's what I like to see. Keep up the good work. In fact, let's make a logging site up there, so it can do this all day, every day, providing an infinite supply of wood. Now remember those glowies? Grey has made a statue of power that they can be traded in at, like this. You can also increase an individual pal's stats here by providing pal souls. Don't think about it too hard. Having built the stone pit and logging site, we just need a crusher in order to level up the base again. So the pals build one. It's a handy machine capable of turning stone into paldium fragments, a material used to craft basically everything fancy. In other news, I made a harness that allows me to pick up this orange fox and use it as a flamethrower, which is a totally acceptable thing to do. Anyway, the base is running well, generating what are currently the 3 most useful materials: wood, stone, and paldium. Oh right, and food for the pals, that too. Let's go and get more of them then. No, not you, Mama Rest. Maybe later. This thing seems useful. A Nightwing, which with a little fiery convincing gets into and stays inside of a ball. At level 15 I'll be able to make a saddle and ride it around. Neat. And this particular Nightwing has 2 great passives. One which increases Grey's speed and another for his defense. Very good. So the next little while involves running around and unlocking fast travel locations, one of which is right next to the first boss arena, and catching a few new pals to level up Grey and his squad. At level 12 we unlock a saddle for that deer we caught earlier, which after catching a few intelligent primates and finding a withered tree covered in skill fruits, we'll craft. Wait, first I'm going to give an assault rifle to a monkey. It went so well in that one movie. I never watched the end though. Anyway, look at him, he loves it. Just like in that other intellectual property about capturing monsters and using them for combat, there are shinies in Palworld, like this Pengullet, who's much larger and presumably guaranteed to have better stats than a regular one. Now, it's not just colourful little beasts that Grey has to contend with, there are also angry people, the first of which we meet are the Syndicate. You know, like in that other intellectual property about catching monsters and using them for combat. Anyway, after clearing out their compound, we free this Toko from a cage and it signs right up to join our crew. Fair enough, I guess it just likes being a captive. Now, let's check out the first boss. It's an anime baddie named Zoe riding an electrical Totoro. Got it. And it's got 30,000 life. Okay, we'll come back to that. When you die in Palworld, you drop all of your belongings, but if you die in a boss area, they spawn outside of it, so that's nice. So I guess we get back to work capturing wild animals and improving our general situation to have another go at Zoe and Electrotaro. Oh, and by the way, here we are, riding the deer. Wow. Right, after making a crossbow, some nicer armor, and leveling up a few more times, let's give Zoe another go. On the way I got distracted by these funny looking pigs which are only capable of mining. Fair enough. Oh, yeah, boss. Ooh, what's this thing? A Caprity, with level 2 planting. Neat. Oh, right, yeah, boss. After cooking up some Eikthyr deer, we'll jump onto our other Eikthyr deer and ride back to the arena, where we will nearly kill it. Well, 3rd time's the charm? Yes, 3rd time is the charm. I ran out of crossbow ammo and had to leave it to that monkey we gave a Kalashnikov earlier. I knew that would come in handy. Though it was actually the deer that finished the job. Either way, first boss defeated. Very good. For which we'll get some ancient tech points, which let us unlock the incubator and a Pal Essence condenser, whatever that is. Anyway, I think it's time to make a new base. This one has seen us to a small victory so far, but it has some issues. Mainly that it's cramped. There isn't enough floor space for all the activities I intend to force pals to undertake. After riding around for a while, this area seems nice. There are plenty of trees and an ore rock right here, which is nice because as far as I can tell they're static spawns that occasionally reappear unless you build over them. Some mild eco-terrorism later, we've got this nice flat foundation to work with. A pal box, workbenches and beds go down before a load of fangirls arrive? One fell off the cliff into this lake, so I followed her down and, well, drowned Eikthyr deer before finishing it off. And then when trying to get back up, I also drowned Grey. Anyway, just behind where we drowned, there's a little Elden Ring looking ass church, which I've been to already. I think I have a memory issue. Whatever, the new base is starting to get pretty well set up. It feeds itself, and both a stone pit and lumber camp are working away on the platform. Somehow. I'm not sure I fully understand those, but it's fine. We also unlocked this monitoring stand. Which allows us to force pals to work harder at the cost of depleting their sanity faster. And as funny as it is to joke about their working conditions, they're getting more than enough done on normal right now, so we'll just leave them be. Next, we'll make a little house for Grey to stand in the window of and ominously watch the pals working. Or sleeping, I guess. On the map, there are various boss pals, and just next to us is a chillet, allegedly, so Grey rides over and sure enough, there it is. After beating it up a little, Grey is very nearly burned to death, so throws a desperation sphere, which actually just works. So now we have a chillet, and also, we're not dead. It might be Chile, I don't know, whatever. Great success either way. Back at base, there's a horde of electric hedgehogs, which all the pals immediately started slaughtering. In the bloodbath, I managed to capture 2 of them. I'm not sure why they were here, but okay. That Chile we caught is rideable, by the way. Though the saddle position seems a little questionable, if you ask me. Anyway, remember after the first boss, we unlocked an egg incubator. Now we're building it. Eggs are just kind of randomly scattered around the world, and we found a few. But the first we'll incubate is this large damp one. Shortly afterwards, in the dead of night, some Free Pal Alliance hardliners showed up to raid the base, and were promptly burnt to death with man-portable flaming fox weaponry. Grey makes a necklace so that Daydream can permanently float around him, attacking in tandem with him, and then we're off to get more pals, because the levels must keep flowing in order to advance the base. It's a simple loop, really. Despite this simplicity, I actually ran around for a while just straight up killing, not really realizing quite how poor the XP output for this is. Whilst out and about, I keep finding these caves, with bosses of varying levels, but I'm not going in there without a horde of spheres, since I'm assuming they're full of cave-specific pals. Back at the base then, we make some more spheres and other miscellaneous bits that I've unlocked, including a saddle for Nightwing, meaning we'll be flying soon. But first, that damp egg is hatching into a Pen King. Allegedly unrelated to the Pen Gullet, but it sure bears a striking resemblance. It also reminds me somehow of an Eldar with all those gems in its chest. It also has level 2 mining, which will be useful later. Anyway, yes, flight, we can do that now. It's not very fast, but hey, flight, shouldn't complain. To make more balls, we need Paldium, the blue stuff. And whilst grabbing some, I found another blue thing. It's beautiful. And unfortunately I ran out of balls and it killed me. But, well, these things happen. Grey reclaims his stuff and gets back to catching any and all pals he can find just for the experience. And whilst flying around to do so, I stumbled upon a small town. Very interesting. So this is what all that gold I've been stacking up is for. There's a trader who stocks various garbage here, as well as someone that sells pals at frankly extortionate prices. Whatever, we didn't bring any gold anyway, and we're just about out of spheres. So off home we go, where another egg is ready to pop. And out pops Floppy. Hooray! After rustling up some food and making some more balls, we head to one of those many caves discovered on our journeys. Surprisingly, inside are a load of syndicate weirdos that need putting down, as well as the much more expected cave-specific pals. Like this Mao, who refuses to stay in the damn ball. It's a shiny cat. There's also coal in here, which I assume will be useful sometime relatively soon. But it's not just shiny cats and coal, the place is also rife with fuddlers, these silly little dudes. Now, these caves have bosses, like I said, and this one has a level 10 Dinossum, who will be spared from death by a last-second Megasphere, joining the ranks of Grey's servile pals. And with both planting and lumbering level 2, it'll be quite a useful servile pal. For completing the dungeon, you get some valuable shinies and a technology point as well. So, back home. Another Pen King comes from an egg and will put Dinossum into the base. You'll see that Dinossum is a thick boy, which I'll come to learn is a problem for navigating the base. I'll show you that later. First, we're off out hog riding. Insert hog rider meme here. Because whilst riding this piggy, we can charge into rocks and get all of their ore very quickly. Ah, here we go. Look, here's Dinosaur hinting at how it's going to be a pain in the ass. Clipping its head through the roof whilst taking a bath. And oh look, now it can't leave the bath for some reason. Yeah, this sure is a small team developed early access game. It hits all the check marks. And hey, here's Caprity also demonstrating my point. I don't know where it's trying to go, but it's not getting there. Unsurprisingly, I called it a day here, and when I loaded back in the next morning, I found my base under siege by a Mamarest, which was actually just fighting off some Syndicate bad boys, but obviously aggroed all the pals in the process of fighting them off. We were never going to kill it, and it'll quite happily destroy all of our nice things, so I decided to check whether I can just make the problem go away by reloading the game. Sure enough, no more Mamarest. My pals, though, are either incapacitated or, well, confused. Unsure whether or not they're still in combat. I'll leave them for a while and hope they just figure it out. For a good while I fly around collecting eggs, a few more pals and a load of those CIA glowies, which are very visible at night. You can see them when you're flying. You won't be able to see this part very well, but I seem to have accidentally flown into a much higher level biome and am being punished by some angry level 27 bird thing called a Hellzephyr, which kills my Nightwing and sends me running. On the way back home to heal my flying steed, I crest this rock to an actually pretty gorgeous sunrise. For all this game's fuckery, that's actually really nice. Speaking of fuckery, the base is still bugged. Tansy and Penking are apparently voraciously hungry, and all of the pals are still experiencing paralyzing combat PTSD. I figured that if I bring them something to fight, then maybe being in actual combat will kind of reset their brains. And sure enough, it actually did work. So now they can all return to their business. From another egg we get a Gale Claw, which can apparently be used as a glider to retain your ability to shoot whilst gliding, but the equipment to do that is quite a few levels down the tech tree. Speaking of the tech tree, the next base upgrade requires us to be level 20 to unlock the weapon workbench. So once more, out we go. Crossbow loaded and spheres aplenty, for a healthy mix of killing people, freeing their captive pals, and catching wild pals of our own. Oh, and also collecting a load more glowies. I'm not sure why I find this to be strangely rewarding, just flying around collecting glowing things. I think it must be the result of a childhood spent in the collectathon era of gaming. I captured another big thick green boy, a Broncherry, with level 3 planting now. Wow, what a rush! I also finally captured the Grim Cleaper, only for his twin, Anti-Cleaper, to kill my Nightwing and, well, do this to me, which naturally caused me to die. No time to lick wounds though, back to it. Capturing, well, it's just a cow. And then Grey started T-pose gliding, which is fun. Back at the base crafting more spheres, we're reminded once again that building any kind of enclosed structure is a really bad idea, and prevents your pals from actually moving around the place, because this bat thing is stuck in the floor. I can, however, make a saddle for the big green dude. I don't really know why I would, but I can. I mean, it can beat up some little monkeys pretty effectively whilst I'm riding it, but it can do that without me just as well. Anyway, Grey's just gonna focus up and grind out some levels. Let's get serious. It looks like we're going to need a montage.
Enemy spotted.
Okay, so level 21. Let's go home and upgrade the base. For the next level we'll need level 24 as it requires a more advanced pal bed. But I'm not going to hard focus the leveling this time because I'm making a ranch instead, in which this little weird flame thing will reside and produce flame organs. What I'd really like, to be honest, is a pal with a higher level in handiwork, because crafting ammo for my new flashy musket takes an eternity. But I mean, fair play, the thing does absolutely clap a level 2 T-Fant and a level 1 Lamball. You can't argue with them results. Grey catches a shiny Depresso and then T-poses his way back home to fend off a pair of angry Toko before heading back out again. Only to get drawn back in because once again, a Mamarest has taken offence and is rampaging about the place. However, this time I have a musket and my pals are higher level, so they actually kill it. I'd have liked to catch it of course, but even at near death, the best sphere I can make, a gigasphere, had a 2% catch rate. Never mind, we'll get one eventually and watch it fail to navigate our base thanks to its ridiculous bulk. For a while now I've been wondering where I can get a decent supply of ore, since ingots are now in much higher demand for crafting, and the answer is behind this random church, it turns out. So every now and then Grey heads there with a piggy and brings back a few inventories full of ore. Very good, but we could do better, and later we will. First, PAL condensation. We unlocked this thing ages ago but never built one. It lets you squish a number of pals together and apply their essence to the one lucky survivor, giving it a lifetime of survivor's guilt, but more importantly, upgrading its partner skill. Anyway, enough messing around, back to capturing. We need more levels. Starting out with this big blue thing, Azurobe. Cool. Unfortunately then its considerably smaller friends ganged up on and killed Grey, so let's just pretend that didn't happen and get back to work. Would you look at that, level 25. We can now make them special beds and upgrade the base once more. You might have noticed though that for a good while, the base limit has been 2. I've been slacking off on building a second base, but now's the time, and I know just the place. Just as soon as I'm done rebuilding my home after it was burnt down by violent wild pals. I'll build it out of stone this time. Perhaps I should replace the wooden platform that the main base is built on. Anyway, the second base. It's going here by the church where all of that ore is. That's right, baby. We're making a labour camp. Hell yeah. I was at first rather annoyed that the piggies weren't mining. Like, I actually made a note titled, "This fucking game, man," whilst staring at all of these pals just wriggling around. And then I realised that a pal just needs level 2 mining to work on ore. So I swapped the pigs out for penkings and off they go. Fair enough. So, now they're mining, they need some support staff, and walls to keep them in. We've got this weird bird thing running ore back to the crates and a couple of little firefoxes to run the furnace that, unfortunately, doesn't seem possible to automate. I have to tell them to make ingots with the ore that's in the crates all the time. Maybe there's an automatic solution later, I don't know. Anyway, with that done and therefore a considerably steadier flow of ingots, let's make a GAT. A rather frightfully large, makeshift pistol. Comedically oversized or not though, it works. Fueled by ingots from the work camp, Grey's ball bag is swollen with megaspheres and his shonky pistol is well stocked. That means it's time to go out capturing. Many uninteresting pals were added to the roster before we find the lair of this thing, Catress, who I'm sure some people in my Discord would enjoy being stepped on by. Once captured, I learned that it's exactly what I've been waiting for too, being the first pal we've caught that has level 2 handiwork. Back out in the world again, thanks to all the CIA glowies that Grey has absorbed into his body, he's now able to sneak a gigasphere past a Mammorest's defences and snap it up with a mere 5% catch rate. Nice. I'm gonna be honest though, it's a little disappointing. Level 2 mining, planting, and lumbering. You can apparently ride it to do those things considerably more efficiently too, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. With the help of his legally distinct small electrically charged animal, Grey also manages to capture a boss Grintail. I think that being stunned by electrical attacks has a large effect on catch rate, but I don't know, I'm no expert. Another few interesting beasties get us to level 28, so now it's back to the work camp to collect some ingots and then back to base where we've unlocked some of the more dystopic parts of the game. Assembly lines. Which require considerably more ingots than we have right now, so we'll get to it shortly. First, another egg is ready. And out comes Hang You, a pal used to hang you. It can also be used as a glider, but one that slowly lifts you up rather than helping you travel forwards quickly, so I'll stick with my big blue manta ray for now, I think. Alright, so another group of wild pals are running at the base. It shouldn't be an issue, and yeah, sure enough, they're sent packing pretty quick. Wait, no. No. My beloved base made exclusively of flammable materials. Who could have foreseen this outcome? Oh, everyone did? Oh. So anyway, I vented to Ra and he told me in no uncertain terms to end the video there. But you should never, under any circumstances, take advice, medical or otherwise, from Ra. I heard recently that he has a collection of children's teeth. It's just a rumor, but Is it worth taking the risk? From the wreckage of the base then, we'll scrape together a little production line to make some gear, including new armor and a load of ammo for the pistol, with the help of Catris to craft it more quickly. And then we should go find the second boss, whose exact location is here. Don't ask how I know, I googled it. And they fight with a giant flower, so we'll burn her with a squad of fire pals, all of whom need leveling up first. This takes a very long time, but basically involves flying around and repeatedly defeating any and all boss pals that we can find. And after that, Grey also makes himself a new pistol. With 2 pistols and a squad of Bernie pals, it's off we go then, into the Tower of the Free Pal Alliance, where we meet Lily and Lylene, who collectively have 69,000 life. This is going to take some doing, but with plenty of shooting, dodging, and juggling our pal squad around, we've got her on the ropes. And before too long, without too much struggle really, she's done. Perhaps now Grey has earned a rest in his House of Stone, the only thing that survived the Inferno. Thanks for watching, and thanks especially for the continued support through channel memberships and Patreon. I love you all very much. Whatever you do though, please remain indoors. It's not safe outside. You might end up in one of Grey's work camps. Until next time, goodbye.